Hi, my name is Thales Yunis, and I was born and raised in Rio de Janeiro in Brazil. My goal with this video is to provide a quick introduction to the pronunciation of Brazilian Portuguese, as well as a few language tips. I'm not an expert in linguistics, so this is going to be a very informal introduction, mainly based on what I perceive to be the main difficulties English speakers face when it comes to Portuguese. I hope you find it useful. So let's begin. We'll start with some basic pronunciation tips. The R at the beginning of a word, as well as the double R, they sound like the H in English. So for example, the word rua or Rio, and in fact the name of that city is not Rio de Janeiro, it's Rio de Janeiro. Carro, bairro, and our currency, real. It's not real. And if it's in the plural, which you might be saying a lot if you're traveling there, it's dois, the number 2, reais. So reais and real. Next, we have the letter S. If it's between two vowels, it sounds like a Z. For example, mesa and casa. The H at the beginning of a word is silent. So the words for today, hoje, homem, and hora. The C with a cedilla or the double S, they sound the same. They sound like the S in English. So for example, moça, orçamento, pássaro, and missa. The TE at the end of a word, you can pronounce it like te, but colloquially, people actually say it like a ch or ch. For example, I could say presente, but that would sound very weird to a Brazilian. But if you said presente, that sounds much more natural. So instead of contente, you say contente. And the next word, frente. Continuing the pronunciation, the NH sounds like the ñ in Spanish, so it makes the sounds like ña, ño. For example, vinho, picanha, which is probably the best cut of meat you'll ever had in your life, and the caipirinha, a word you should definitely learn how to pronounce because it's one of the greatest drinks ever. CH and X sound like the sh in English. Sometimes the X will sound like what it does in taxi, but a lot of times it's not like that. It sounds like the sh. So for example, chapéu, chuva, chá, and peixe. The LH followed by a vowel sounds like li plus the vowel sound. So for example, LH followed by A is lia. LH followed by O is lio. For example, and you say it quickly, velho, milho, ilha, folha, colher, mulher. The QUA sounds like qua, and it appears in words like quando, quase, quatro, and quarto. QUE sounds like que with this low-pitched E. So for example, queijo. And if you want to ask for things, eu quero, and eu queria if you want to be a little more polite. QUI will sound like key in English. So for example, 15. Now let's take a look at accents. If a word has an accent over a letter, that letter is going to be where the tonic syllable of the word is. So you put the stress right there. We can have the following kinds of accents. The acute, for that one, it means it wants you to increase the pitch when you say that vowel. to open your mouth more. That the letter E with that acute accent on top appears a lot. It sounds like the E in bet. So it sounds like E. So picolé, and the accent over the other vowels. So the letter O with the accent, if you make it higher pitch, open your mouth, you say O. So that second word there for grandmother, avó. And árvore. Notice that I'm putting the tonic syllable where the accent is. Árvore. And the superfruit, it's not like everyone in America says it. It's not açaí. It's açaí. Açaí. And something you should also try in Brazil, because ours is very good, is café. The tilde makes the vowel nasal. Air has to come out of your nose as you're saying it. Maçã, mãe. So notice that the A, instead of me saying it as an A, I say it as an So it goes mãe and amanhã. The circumflex, or the hat, you decrease the pitch, you make it lower. So distância, experiência, and avô. Notice the subtle difference between grandfather and grandmother. Avô is the grandfather and avó is the grandmother. And the grave accent, it appears when you have a contraction between the preposition a and the article a. But it just makes the word sound like a anyway, as in taco. Now the infamous A tilde O sound. This sound appears a lot, and it's one of the hardest ones for Americans to say properly. But it's important to say this correctly, because otherwise you can get into confusion, and also Brazilians will be very impressed if you say this sound correctly. So it's a good conversation starter, and you can make friends like that. Think of this sound as a concatenation of two sounds that are said quickly one after another. The A tilde is pronounced like the U in under, so you say it as in under. And the O will sound like the in boom. So I want to say and then I want to say and then And let's try to practice this, and little by little you're going to combine them into one sound. So we begin and then you go until you eventually make it faster and faster, and it sounds like, in the end, it should sound like So go ahead and practice this. Just don't let your significant other see you doing it.
What are you doing?
Nothing. Now that you've practiced with the sound, let's see some words that have the sound in them. Well, one of the most important words to know in any language is how to say no. So in Portuguese, it's não. And then you have pão, and one of our delicacies that you must try, our cheese bread, pão de queijo. One mistake that many people make going to Brazil is that because they don't know how to say the sound, they just say it as an AO, as in ow. So they may say the word, instead of saying pão, they say pau. And there is some danger there. If you say pau, as in PA, Brazilians will think you're saying pau, as in PAU. Well, pau is actually a wooden stick and also the slang for penis. So be careful.
Pau, por favor. Pão, por favor. Ah.
Now that you know what to do when you go to the bakery, let's move on and take a look at a few other words that have the ão sound in them. Mão. If you say it as mau instead, just like you did with the bread, mau could be spelled with M-A-U in Portuguese or M-A-L. The M-A-U is the adjective, it means bad, and the M-A-L, both of them sound again as mau. The M-A-L is the adverb, and it means badly or poorly. Limão, because that's what you put in the caipirinha. So that's a useful word to know. Feijão, you might be eating that. It's delicious. And also try feijoada, which is a dish made with black beans, the feijão preto, and some pieces of pork. Coração, milhão, caminhão. The ão sound is also used to create augmentatives of words, as we'll see later, and Brazilians enjoy doing that a lot for several reasons. Now, as in most Latin languages, and I may even dare say all, have gender. And it's hard for people who are learning them because a lot of times there's no logic to why is a word male or female. So you end up having to memorize everything. Now, instead of doing that, I'm going to give you a little rule that works very often. It's not going to work perfectly all the time, but if you follow this rule, you're going to be correct, I would say, almost all the time. If a noun ends in O, it's likely to be male. If a noun ends in A, it's likely to be female. Of course, nouns can end in other vowels. In that case, you can't really tell. And also, it's not necessarily the case that all the O's and all the A's are male and female. The gender of a noun affects, among other things, what article you put in front of it. That's the equivalent to the definite or indefinite articles in English as the, a, and some. So for the word carro, ends in O, it's male. O carro, the car. Os carros, the cars. A moça, or as moças, the ladies or the women. These are the definite articles, and the indefinite articles, carro, and this could be a, the a indefinite article in English, or it could be as in the number one. It's the same word. Uns is some cars, uns carros. Uma moça, umas moças. The possessive pronouns and adjectives will also agree in gender and number with the nouns. So if I want to say my car, meu carro, seu carro, nosso carro. Minha bolsa, so the female of meu is minha, because bolsa is female. Female of seu is sua. Female of nosso is nossa. And you could also pluralize those to be meus, minhas, and nossos and nossas. As for the adjectives, again, they will agree with a noun. Beautiful car, carro bonito. Beautiful woman, moça bonita. And you can go in the plural, moças bonitas. Finally, I wanted to say a few words about augmentatives and diminutives. They can be used, of course, literally to make something bigger or smaller, but Brazilians also like to use them a lot just to make things cuter or make them more endearing. And the ão is used for augmentatives, and there are some variants of the ão depending on what the word is. And inho and inha are going to be the diminutives, male-female versions of it. As I said, often the goal is not to express size, but to make that word more endearing, friendly, or cute. So for example, carro, carrão is the big car, and carrinho is a small car. You could also say somebody has a carrinho if you're kind of being dismissive about how bad or cheap their car is. Paulo, so this is used, these augmentatives and diminutives are used a lot for proper names. Paulo, Paul, Paulão, and Paulinho. Paulinho could be a Paul person who is short, but could also be your close friend Paulinho, and you love him, and you just call him that. If you remember our last, before the current one, soccer coach was Felipão, which is the augmentative of the name Felipe. Loja, lojinha could be a small store or just someone being humble about the business they own and they say, I just have a little lojinha, right? Instead of saying just loja. Linda, and if you want to make that small, it's not like you're small, beautiful, but you say lindinha, it means you're cute or pretty. That's about it. That's all I had to give you for this short introduction. There were more items I could have spoken about, but I think I didn't want to make this too long. And these little tips, I believe, will increase your ability to speak Portuguese and to be understood by Brazilians, and also to make Brazilians think that, wow, you put a lot of effort into this, and they will really enjoy it, and you'll notice, I can promise you. Enjoy your trip to Brazil. I hope you're going there soon, and see you later. Thanks for watching.